Hi everyone. The last time we touched upon a number of things. We spoke about darkness and number 18 and number 19, the say. Number 16, recall, is faith, which is the yoya, the water, the symbol. 17 is dang, knowing. So you have faith and knowing. But when you get to number 18, you're going from knowing to unknowing, to not knowing, to the unknown, from that which is seen to that which is unseen, which is number 18, hak, darkness. And then from darkness, it goes to, recall, faith, knowledge, unknown, and doubt, or segwan. At the time was Zarathustra. Called in the ancient tongue, one of the ancient tongues, segwan, which is the black doubt. The black doubt, the doubt, and that's 19, the evil, the collapse away from the stability of the social order of 18. Now we say social order because number 12 refers to humanity, refers to mankind. Collectively, individually, yes, but also collectively. And we mentioned that there's no escaping from this sequence that we have to go through, these pulses of man. We all go through them. A social order will go through them. A world will go through them. And we live in them all the time at the same time. And so it's not a matter of escaping, but adapting, as we had mentioned previously. The thing is, with regard to 18, which is the hak and the unknown, the unknowable, well, all social orders experience 18 in some measure or other. 18 represents, in a sense, a type of social dichotomy. Not a disunion, but a dichotomy. Different, such as children to parents, and in that regard, recall that the children are basically generally want to go forward with into some new territory, and the elders in that sense are more conservative. And we spoke the last time about the liberal and the conservative and elements within a social order. And so it needn't tear the social order apart, but we can look to Jehovah's kingdom as to how to proceed in this. And then there's advice in Oahspe, some wise advice, and essentially that advice is that a social order that's closest to Jehovah in Jehovah's kingdom will provide for these expressions of youth, because the youth will always come forth with something new and to have their own say in that regard, and have their own outlook. And 18 represents movement toward a fulfillment. It's actually the fulfillment of humanity, 18 is, because it's the seventh pulse of man, 12 up to 18. And you can see up above in the Tao of Samoyed that's the seventh pulse. And the seventh pulse has to do with, as we mentioned many times, number 7, the fullness, limits, extremes. But it also has to do with understanding and seeing things a bit more clearly. There are in the social order itself, we have elements that desire to go forward and create something new, be progressive, and then we have elements that want to retain the anchorage in the roots in the past. They don't want to sever those roots, so they don't. We have to remember that they don't mind going forward, but they want to do it in such a way that their roots aren't severed. And in the same way, but oppositely, the liberal or the progressive aspect or the youth aspect wants to go forward, and they want to be able to do that in a way that allows for essentially the expression of Jehovah, however that's interpreted, or whatever name that's given to, but that's the essence of it, to express these new forms, these new ways of looking at things. They don't mind having the anchorage there, but they don't want to have the anchorage prevent them from expressing Jehovah. And so there's always these elements, but this element, this sort of dichotomy, well, we can really think of it as a spread or a continuum, and of experience and participation in life. And so we have the fulfillment of man. The fulfillment of man is found in the social order, in this stabilization. Hak initially came from the Dang, and how the Dang had drifted into the Hak. Or it was the fullness of the ideal was purposely moved toward in the social order. And as a matter of fact, both of those go on at the same time, can go on at the same time in a social order. The ideal, of course, that's the 17, it was the sixth pulse of man, or humanity, mankind, and so that ideal is what is being taken to the extremes, either purposely or drifting toward the extremes and toward the fullness. And in 18 we see that in the rotation that there has been a collapse, so it becomes a thing unto itself essentially, and has collapsed into the center. And we spoke about how that actually makes everything stronger. It can be strength that needn't be bad necessarily. And as a matter of fact, we can understand what these crossbars can mean in Hak by looking at further on down in the Tablet of Samoin. And we can look at, well, we'll get to what we're going to look at in that regard, but we will first, let's understand that Samoin starts with the subjective level, the Ah level, and then it descends down 11 levels into depth, into a more objectivity compared to the subjectivity, more overtness, more of the outer realm as we progress down into the depths, but also more inwardly as well at the same time. And it can go down into thickness as well, and it can drop down into darkness. Although it needn't be darkness, it could be just denser and denser light. That being said, we are going to drop down all the way down to the 11th row, which starts off with 111, which is man.